Thank you everybody for joining. It's at least top of the hour. Some of you it's really morning, whereas some of you it's late at night. So thank you so much for taking this time to join us for the Entrepreneur Slumber parties. We're happy to have you on board listening to the 6 companies that will be pitching to you today. As you may have seen from my email, so I'll just quickly share my screen here. I'll quickly share my screen, 1 second. Yeah, so as you may have seen from my email, this is the expectation of today. All these companies, all these 6 companies are really in the early stages of operation. Some of them are pre-seed, and some of them have actually made are in the post-revenue stages. So we're really glad that you could be able to join us for the Entrepreneur Slumber parties for the early stage companies. The reason we curated this session is because we as Sankalp really value the investors who sit abroad and who usually attend Sankalp year on year. They take flights from the US or Europe to come and hear some of the entrepreneurs pitch. And a big shout out to Bill Harrington, who's on the call, who also helped us sort of curate this session to just cater for that market or the investor community that sits outside of the East African time zone. So we really appreciate you taking the morning hours to come and join us for this session. So we will be having the slumber parties, running for the 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So today we'll be having the early stage companies pitch to you, 6 of them. Each of them will get about 15 or so minutes. To present. They'll get about 15 minutes to present, and then you get, within the same 15 minutes, you get a Q&A session. Then tomorrow we'll have about 4 companies present to you who are in the early to growth stage phase. And then lastly, on Thursday, we'll listen to about 3 companies who are in their growth stroke scale stage. So we really do hope that you'd be able to join us for all of them, depending, of course, on your sector preferences and end stage preferences as well. So for today's session, we will have the 6. The format of the session, each company will be sharing their screen. They'll be pitching for about 7 minutes, and then you get, about 8 minutes to ask questions. Feel free to put the questions in the chat. For just housekeeping rules, if you wish, you can also use the raise hand feature on Zoom, or you can put your questions on the chat. So we really look forward to a very interactive session, and hopefully some of these companies can be able to receive financing from you. So all the materials for these 6 companies have actually been placed in the digital deal room, in the digital directory. So please feel free to actually go through, some of the materials, the summary sheets, the pitch decks that they have. Otherwise, for now, I am hoping that Kiri-EV, Chris Mara from Kiri-EV is ready to present to us. This is a company that we've known quite closely. We've interacted with them for the past, I think, couple of months now, and they're really doing interesting things in the mobility sector. Yes, so I'll let Kiri-EV, Chris, share his screen now. And whenever you're ready, Chris, you can be able to begin.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and good morning to those of you in other parts of the world. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. I have my co-founders with me and advisors, Nick on the room. So I think I'll kick it off in the next minute, and they'll be helping me answer any questions that come up at the end. So as Mercy said, my name is Christopher Mara, and I'm the founder of Kiri-EV Limited. And we are our aim is to lead the electric transportation revolution across Africa. So the problem we're trying to address is, high cost of motorcycles, high emissions, high fuel prices, congestion in our cities. And the reason why we feel this is a problem is because transport is the #1 expenditure when it comes to household budget and consumption, accounting for 23% of most people's income. Our solution is electric 2- and 3-wheelers combined with battery swapping stations. And why we feel this is a solution is because our product is affordable, economical, and easy to operate. We provide a swappable battery, which means that our riders don't have to, when they run out of fuel, they can just swap a battery for convenience and they don't have to wait for it to be fully charged. And we're setting up charging infrastructure that helps, makes this easier for them. In all of this, we're also including smart tech, so the bikes are smart, the battery smart, and the whole ecosystem is meant to work as efficiently as possible to make it easier for our clients to ride and swap and transition from your petrol motorcycles to electric ones without any major or significant changes to their current lifestyle. Our value proposition, or why you should be switching to electric, in terms of fuel economy, we'll be saving our clients 18.2%. When it comes to monthly maintenance, 87%. When it comes to changing spare parts, because we have less moving parts and less parts that break down in an electric motorcycle versus our petrol, we'll be saving 77% on monthly expenses. And all of this in total adds up to almost a 20% saving on your total, a 41% saving on your total monthly running costs. In terms of emissions, we have 0 tailpipe emissions compared to a petrol one, which is 2.3 tons per annum, and noise pollution, we're at 0. And when it comes to also how our bikes are charged, because we're in Kenya, a lot of our electricity is generated from green resources, renewable sources. So the whole value chain for us is green. In terms of models, we are starting with 3 main models, and then we'll expand this to 5. Why we've done this is because based on our testing and piloting, we've seen that we've provided a model for pretty much every customer segment, from women who we see will prefer the scooter type model, and then we have a sporty version and a normal carrier, more commercial model for our commercial riders, and then we plan on expanding to cargos and tuk-tuks. Compared to our competitors, we feel our price point is right on the money. We will also be providing asset financing. Our build quality, through our testing, we've been able to improve our quality and bring what our clients want to the market. And our product range is currently the widest according to our, compared to any of our competitors. And we're also deploying a battery swapping model, and we have, we've been testing for the last 12 months and have quite a lot of units deployed on the ground. The market globally is valued at $14 billion, growing at about a 7.3% annual, with the top five players accounting for less than 35% of the global market. When you come to regionally, there are more than 3 million motorcycles, petrol motorcycles on the road, and this is growing rapidly. In Kenya, the whole value chain is valued at $2 billion plus, and is growing at a rate of about 10% per annum. Excuse me. In terms of our customer segmentation, we are looking to target corporate customers as our first client, then followed by delivery riders, and then motorcycle taxis, known as borders here. And then this will be followed by SMEs, governments, and other recreation riders. So our top 3 market segments account for just over 80% of our target market. In terms of our business model, we have 3 main revenue models that we're looking at. So one will be building, selling the motorcycles, which will be our primary source of revenue. And then our secondary source of revenue will be from our swap stations and our charging infrastructure. And our third source of revenue will be from our after-sales maintenance and support services, selling accessories and so on. We do plan on introducing a fourth revenue stream further down the line, which will be asset financing. Our competitive advantage, we've been doing 12 months of testing, so we know what the clients want. And this means that we are localizing the product to what is required in this market. Through this testing, we've been able to build a network of interested parties and stakeholders, and we are leveraging this to make a product that is cost efficient and suited to the Kenyan and wider East African market. In terms of SDGs, we're aligned with a lot of the SDGs, affordable and reliable transportation, clean cities, and climate action. Our traction so far, we've sorted out our supply chain and we know who we're getting from. We've done a lot of piloting, as I've mentioned before, with a wide range of stakeholders in the industry so that we can get a good range of feedback on how we're going. We've also now we're working on our pre-sales and ramping those up as we wait for our next batch to come in. This will also, as our next batch comes in, this will also include setting up dealerships and establishing a swap station network. Our team, combined, we have over 15 years experience in the renewable energy industry. We are all entrepreneurs in our own right, having started businesses and have businesses ongoing. And we feel, together combined, we have the passion and the drive and the energy that will make this a success. Our financials, we are projecting that this year we'll turn over around $270,000. This will rise to about $2.5 million by year 5, and this will be backed on us selling 170 plus units in year 1, rising all the way to 1,500 units by year 5. We're looking to raise $500,000. Most of this will go in towards buying the input materials for us to build our motorcycles and also setting up our swap station network. Then there's some capital that we're going towards working capital, as well as further developing our software and refining it. And that's it for now. I'd welcome any questions from.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that great presentation. I think we have a few questions in the chat box. So one is actually from Bill. He says, what's the extent of the charging infrastructure now, and what will it be in the future, say 2 years?
So right now we're operating manual swap stations. We have about 1 or 2, which we've been shifting depending on who we're piloting with. But we are planning on, by the end of this year, opening up 3 automated stations and another 3 manual stations. And the manual stations are easier to move so we can test where our clients are. Going forward, our plan is to at least, by end of next year, we're planning on having at least 10 to 15 swap stations. And we feel that initially will help us cover Nairobi and the greater Nairobi area, which is where our greater concentration of clients are.
All right, great. And what's the payback period per unit sold on financing?
So how it usually works, it's usually about 18 months, depending on the financing model that the client chooses. So most clients will look at on the motorcycle taxi side, most clients usually pay about $1 to $2 a day for every day Monday to Sunday, and then there's some who get 1 day off so that they can get a day break. So the payback period roughly about 15 to 18 months.
All right. And then one other is, did you face any regulatory or government policy challenges? Or are the government policy enablers supporting the development of your company? Are there any?
So the government is keen on supporting this sector. Where the issue is you find the various departments within the government, there's a lack of communication. So for example, there's a 10% the duty on electric vehicles and new electric mobility was dropped from 20% to 10% by the government, but the Ports Authority and the licensing authority, like, to get your number plate, don't seem to know this yet. So there's some communication that needs to happen between the departments, so that there's a synchronization to make it easier for people who are bringing in such vehicles to be able to register and actually implement that 10% tax. But the government is very supportive and is looking to find ways how they can support the industry as much as possible.
All right. And Karen, if I've not asked that question well, please feel free to unmute yourself and just clarify on that question. But I'll take the next one, which is, what would you say are your biggest threats?
So our biggest threat, I'd say, is right now it's a lack of awareness about EVs as such, and also, when it comes to EVs, range anxiety is the biggest factor for people. How far can I go on my bike? What happens when my battery runs out? So that, in terms of, that's a threat in terms of, you need to educate people on how to, or let them get a greater understanding on how to use EVs. And I feel once they know that, it makes it easier for them to live with one, because sometimes it does mean a slight change of lifestyle, but we are working on making that as seamless as possible. Other threats, obviously there's other players coming into the industry, but what we found is, your bigger players are waiting to see how we navigate through the market before they come in. But I feel by the time they come in, we will have already established ourselves and our network, and we'll have a significant barrier of entry for them.
All right. And then could you also speak on the unit costs, meaning how much does it, cost you to make one bike versus the margin that you actually make per unit? And how is that margin competitive with the rest of the bike manufacturers or distributors in the market?
So our unit cost, we purchase our CKDs at an average of $400. Shipping costs about another $100 per unit. Then there's taxes, about another $100, and then there's various other small charges, such as number plate, government inspection, few other standard Kenya Bureau of Standards. So that usually adds up to about another $50 to $100, depending on the model. So our total built-in price is usually about $600 for a scooter, and about $750 for other two models. And then we usually do a markup of about $300. So we're looking at roughly about a 30% margin is what we're targeting. This is roughly in line with the industry standard, which ranges from about 23, actually a little bit lower, from about 18 to about 33%.
Right. And then, Chris, it seems that you're actually taking on too much. So, for instance, you want to provide bikes, you're also doing asset financing for the motorbikes itself. So what would you say are your core competencies, and where would you want a partner to come and support you in?
So for now, we are actually looking at outsourcing the asset financing, because I feel that it's a business within a business on its own, and Kenya has a very well developed asset financing model, especially for motorcycles. So we actually have one partner on board and another one that we're onboarding, and we're hoping to actually take that completely off our books. The only reason why we feel that in future we will not go into it as such, we'll go into it in terms of the tech that goes to help our asset financing partners be able to collect their money easier. So, with same as you have with Pay Go Solar, you can if you don't pay your daily or monthly subscription, the product doesn't turn on. That's the kind of technology we're looking to incorporating just to help our partners. Where we want to focus our strengths on is one, getting the bike itself to be optimal and work for this market, and two, really working on the battery and the swapping, because we feel that if that is where we can, that's where the long-term revenue is on the product, and that's where we feel if we fine-tune that and focus on that, one will be unbeatable in the market because we'll have a product that is superior than everyone else, and that's where we'll make our revenues in the long run. But for now, I know there's that chicken or egg question, because the market is still young. We have to create demand on both sides. So we have to sell the bikes and also do the swap stations. And one, you can't have a swap station network without any bikes, and you can't have any bikes without a swap station network.
Right. And then lastly, I see, could you also talk about, your financial ask in detail? How much you're looking to raise in detail?
So we're looking right now for about $500,000. We feel with this, a lot of this will go into importing our knockdown kits, which will help us build bikes. And so about, let's say 40% will go into the knockdown kits, and about another 30-40% into our swap station network. And the rest of it will mostly go into a bit of working capital, marketing, and just miscellaneous, keeping the keeping us going. But the main focus will be on getting our kits in so that we can actually ramp up our sales.
All right, perfect. I think that's it from us with the questions, Chris, unless you want to do a quick shout out to the rest of your co-founders that have just joined the call.
Yeah, I know there's Nick and Alex on the call. I don't know if they have anything else they'd like to add. I can give them this chance to speak up.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. Nick here. Hello, everyone. I guess I think Chris has been able to convey pretty well exactly what he's trying to achieve in terms of moving forward. I think I just wanted to mention maybe one point in terms of some of the feedback that we've gotten from investors and so on, in terms of what they see some of the challenges are with respect to Kiri. And one common theme that we typically hear is the fact that we will tend to struggle in terms of price point with respect to used motorcycles that are currently being circulated in the market. And the fact is, how would Kiri be able to compete with all the second, third, fourth hand motorcycles that are currently there? And the reality is that, as Chris mentioned, many bikes are purchased through asset financing partners, such as, we have already conducted some pilot programs with some of them. So the fact is that Kiri's bikes are actually within the same price bracket of conventional motorbikes that are currently being purchased right now in the market by, border riders, the taxi riders, as well as corporates. So from a price perspective, Kiri is very competitive in that respect. So just wanted to make that clear because, there have been a lot of comments with respect to us being able to compete with a lot of the used motorcycles in the market. And the reality is that's just not the case. So just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Evening, everyone, and good morning, those in the US. Try not to sound too repetitive to what Chris and Nick have already said. But, we've done a lot of work with key players in the industry for Kiri and taken a lot of learnings on board. And, one of the key things we're looking to do going forward is leveraging a lot of data from our asset financiers who geo-track the bikes that they have on the ground, so that as we build our charging and infrastructure network, we're building it in clusters that are actually relevant to where our riders are. And being able to form partnerships like this and leverage data from our partners is going to ensure that, we're not overstretching ourselves and we're investing in the right places at the right times. And Chris had mentioned that our focus area is on optimizing the bike and the infrastructure network. We feel that those are also very prominent and key features for us to play, because there's such a strong distribution network for bikes, and a lot of these distributors are aware of Kiri, they are aware of our bike, and they're eager to bring us on board. And we feel like growing partnerships like these will help us focus on our key areas. And I again also just want to commend Chris on the great work he's done over the year, really leading the charge on this work. And hopefully we can pick up the conversation with some of you in the weeks to follow. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Kiri-EV team. That was such a lovely pitch. So just to address some of your questions, my colleague Galan will be sharing a link with just the investors to the digital directory. Otherwise, you would have received an email from me with the link and the password. And Emmanuel, you are not able to download because you've restricted downloading. So if you really are interested to speaking with the companies that will pitch today, kindly write to us and we'll be able to facilitate direct connections with the specific entrepreneurs that you'd be interested in. For now, I will ask Chris to stop sharing. And if we do have Anne on the line, Anne Chege. Anne is, a female founder from Kenya as well. We've interacted with her again for the past couple of months. She is actually the founder or co-founder of Mama Prime Kenya, which seeks to solve maternal financial issues. So I'll let her take it up and explain more about it. So Anne, if you could kindly share your screen.
Good evening for those in East Africa, I think in West Africa as well, or it's early afternoon, and good morning to those in the different parts of the world, America especially. My name is Anne Chege and I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Mama Prime. Mama Prime seeks to make maternal health care accessible and affordable to all. To effectively explain what Mama Prime is, I want us to meet Angela. This is Angela. As you can see, she's expectant. And just like most people within the middle income bracket, her income fluctuates between $200 to $300 in a month. She has no insurance cover. This is because only 3% of Kenyans have an insurance cover. And what that means is Angela has limited access to quality hospitals, the hospitals she can go to, the services that she can access in those particular hospitals. Sometimes she's not able to access the services. Sometimes she'll be forced to come at a later date. And this might lead to maternal mortality that is for herself and neonatal mortality for her child. So to effectively solve this, we came up with Mama Prime. It's a flexible, automated financial planning platform where pregnant mothers, their family, and their friends can be able to make piecemeal payments that go towards meeting the cost of their delivery, prenatal, and child wellness up to the period of 5 years of age. So Angela is always able to put money aside. She can get help from her friends. She can get help from her family, that is her husband, her mother, her sister, or anyone else who wants to be able to assist in her maternal journey. This is how she's able to access the service. She just dialed the USSD. She's able to access crowdfunding, access to the different hospitals, and she's able to make piecemeal payments. That is, she has $20 today, she has $40 the next time, she has $20 after 3 weeks, like that. She's able to make piecemeal payments whenever she gets money that goes towards meeting her maternal and her child wellness cost. She's able to reserve, make a booking, pay any amount, anywhere, anytime, like I said. Every time she makes a payment, she's able to get an SMS. This is how much you've paid, this is how much you still have to pay. And eventually she gets a receipt, which she now presents to the hospital. In addition to that, Angela is able to get customer education for herself. How does she better take care of herself now that she's expectant? How does she take care of her unborn child? When the when the child has been born, how do you ensure that your child has the correct immunizations according to the WHO calendar? So we send her customer education, we send her customer reminders. And in case Angela loses her child, her money is refundable. Whenever she goes to hospital, she's able to get loyalty points. This is to encourage her to always access the hospital for the different needs that she has. Currently, we have 984 mothers, or rather 984 mothers have been able to deliver. We've partnered with 7 hospitals and have been able to do transactions worth $223,000. Our revenue model is simple. We get a commission of between 5 to 10% for each and every service that Angela will use at the hospital. She's gone for her prenatal clinic and she's paid using Mama Prime, we'll make 10% of that. She's gone for delivery, she's gone for her immunizations or her child wellness care, we'll be able to make 5 to 10% of that. This is our financial projection for what we intend to do over up to 2024. We intend, last year, we were able to do 586 deliveries. We want to do 4,500 deliveries next year so that we can break even and have an EBITDA margin of 25%. We are seeking to raise $200,000 in terms of capital investment. We'll use most of the money for sales and marketing, 20% for operations. We intend to develop an application to make our communications with mothers easier. We'll still maintain the USSD for mothers who would prefer not to use the application or those who do not have a smartphone, but the application gives us better access, better reach with mothers. We also would request for introduction to hospitals and like-minded partners. We would want to constitute an advisory board and mentorship for our program. This is a management team, which constitutes of myself, Paul, Sharon, who's in healthcare, and Moses, who's the CTO, to be able to make this dream achievable and of making maternal health achievable and accessible to all. These are the different partners we currently have. That is the hospital partners and the different partners, the escrow, the Safaricom for the payment. Yeah, these are the different awards we've won: Sanofi, DFS, and Women in Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. In case there are any questions,
Thank you so much.
I'd gladly share or shed more light.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne. That was, short and sweet. Could we be able to see your lovely face this evening?
Yes.
Yes, if bandwidth allows, that would be great. So in case there are any questions for Anne, kindly feel free to put them on the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask it directly. But maybe Anne, while we wait, could you maybe give us a story in terms of how impactful your platform has been to a specific mother that you've actually interacted with?
I even have a video. She came to hospital. She got to learn about Mama Prime when she visited the hospital for her prenatal care. She didn't know how she was going to raise money to be able for her delivery. Her particular issue was the delivery. So she really didn't know how she was going to handle her delivery, because sometimes she has money, sometimes she doesn't. And her pregnancy before, she was forced to go to a rural area because that's all she could afford.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's a question around, how long the mothers, you have 700 plus mothers on the platform. So how much time has it taken you to actually accumulate this number of 700 plus?
We started the platform in 2018, testing, growing, but we got our first customer in 2019. And it's so the numbers have been since 2019.
Mm-hmm. And how does your customer acquisition look like? Meaning, how do you actually find these mothers to sign up?
Before COVID, we used to host education days in partnership with the different hospitals. In partnership with the different hospitals. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can, Anne. Go ahead.
Sorry. Someone was trying to call me, so it disconnects my internet.
Go ahead.
I'm saying,
start from the top. Yeah.
okay, how are we able to get mothers? We host education days in different localities. We engage in social media marketing. We also have a unique strategy where we partner with the hospitals and send messages to the different people who either visit the hospital for general clinic or they go for prenatal care at their particular hospital. Then a major hospital always has some sub-clinics that they work with around the area. So let's say, for example, this is a level 3 hospital. They'll partner with level 2, level 1 hospitals around the area so that the clients would go to that particular facility. So helping them, partnering with the level 2, level 1 also helps us to be able to boost our numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And could you go back to the team slide? And on that, does your team actually have a medical personnel or someone who has medical background?
Yes.
Okay.
Her name is Sharon. Sharon has been in healthcare, and she's the one who helps us curate the different healthcare information that we send to the different mothers to ensure that the information that we're giving the mothers, excuse me, is actually correct. In addition to Sharon, we also have the partnerships we have with the different hospitals gives us access to the medical personnel that they have. So whenever we need like a gynecologist, a pediatric, or information that is beyond, like, let's say, Sharon's expertise, we liaise with the different hospitals for that.
Mm-hmm. So really, what's your story? And I mean, how did you end up, starting this company or even trying to solve this challenge? Yeah.
I used to work in an insurance firm before. And there's a client I met because his name was Mohammed. So Mohammed and the wife lost their firstborn child during their wife's first pregnancy because the wife had diabetes in pregnancy, and the hospital they went to deliver in didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So the child had something they called big baby, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to deal with Ahmed. They didn't know how to deal with their mother or the child. And her diabetes continued even after she was pregnant. So when I met Ahmed, it was their second attempt at getting pregnant. Mm-hmm. So they went to hospital. They had an insurance cover. They went to hospital, and unfortunately, the hospital they went to, the moment they saw that their wife was pregnant, instead of deducting money from inpatient, what would normally be an inpatient case, they deducted the money from maternity. And reversing it was an impossible task. Mm-hmm. So there is Ahmed. He doesn't know what to do. He can't risk going back to a low quality healthcare facility because he's scared he might lose the child again. And he had an insurance cover, which now isn't there because they'd already used up all the funds. And there was the wife. And I really, really tried to help him to the level best of my ability to see how the money could be reversed, which became an impossibility. Yeah, so he had to save up the money somehow. And unfortunately, by this time, it was like, 7 months of the wife's pregnancy. Yeah, so there was the wife with a 7-month pregnancy with no money and the risk that history might be repeating itself. So I tried to figure out, like, if this is, so that is just one case. I also had several cases of people telling me, can we pay for insurance now and then backdate so that we can be covered? It's because these people don't have like a financial plan for pregnancy, because no financial plan for pregnancy actually existed at the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when I now left the insurance company, that's when I decided like this is something I actually want to help.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Anne, what's really the commercial, sense of this company? Meaning, the pregnancy cycle of a mother is 9 months. So what do you see in terms of recurring revenues? What's the cost of acquisition for one mother? Versus how much margins do you actually make? If you could just take us through, your numbers in detail, that would be great.
Okay. Can you repeat the first question? What was the first question?
Yeah, so given the short cycle, meaning 9 months of a pregnancy, what do you foresee as recurring revenues? What's your strategy around recurring revenues or repeat customers?
Okay, our current recurrent revenue comes from two sources. The first one is the prenatal visits. The maternal journey is an entire journey of 9 months. So the mother is able to pay for every other clinic, every other ultrasound that she needs to go to, which becomes now revenue for us. And then there's now the main delivery. And after that, there's the postnatal care, because the postnatal care happens up to when the child is 5 years, which is where WHO says we lose most of the children. So every other time the child becomes sick, every other time the mother needs like the postnatal care. There are cases where the mother really becomes ill and needs like postnatal care, but majorly it's the immunization program, the child wellness, because it's not just the immunization part we cover. We cover everything up to like normal colds, normal flus, up to when a child is 5 years. So that really becomes our source of recurrent expenditure. It's something we started after we noticed we were doing a lot of advertising, and after delivery, because our original plan was after delivery, then we don't have like the recurrent mother going on. So we noticed we are doing a lot of marketing. This customer is still within our platform. What can we do to continue being with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's usually the cost of acquisition for one mother to join the platform versus how much revenue are you able to make per mother? Yeah.
We normally make 10% the value of every transaction. Let me look for that slide. So in 586 deliveries, we are able to make 10% of the total cost of deliveries. So an average delivery costs between 20 to 25,000. So we are able to make 25. Let's use the value of 20 because it's a round figure. So we are able to make $200 for every delivery. That is for the main delivery only. So the other costs like the prenatal and the postnatal care, so which is what brings like our revenues to this. Our total expenditure, like stated here, is like 33,000 USD, which in 2020 we didn't make any profit. Yeah, so we intend to break even.
If you were to talk high level gross margin, what would you say is your gross margin in percentage? All right. So since we've lost Anne, I think Nancy will come back to your questions once Anne is back. We live in the challenged third world countries, so sometimes we do have internet connectivity issues. But for now, I guess we will invite our next presenter, who's Winnie. So some of you may have actually interacted with Kwangu Kwako, both Simon and Winnie, who are very, lovely people and attended Sankalp. A couple have been attending Sankalp, I think, since 2015. Winnie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, they are, very good innovators trying to solve the challenge of affordable housing in sub-Saharan Africa. And they were actually Sankalp Award winners a couple of years ago. So Winnie, whenever you're ready, I can see your screen, but unfortunately I cannot see your presentation. So whenever you're ready, Winnie.
Yes, I can hear you. Just give me a minute.
Perfect. Probably in the interim, Simon, you want to say hi to the delegates on the call. I think you should be able to see my screen now, Winnie.
Okay, I've sorted myself out. I can share. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Can you see?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. My name is Winnie Getao. I'm the co-founder of Kwangu, Kwako Limited. On call is also Simon Dixon, is also my co-founder. We are affordable housing in Kenya. We are reinventing or redefining affordable housing, because in Kenya, we have shortage of housing, which is not only a Kenyan problem, it's also a worldwide problem. We find that more than 1.6 billion people currently have inadequate housing, which is going to go up because by 2050, there are going to be more than 9.7 billion people. In Kenya, we have like 13.4 million people living in urban population. 45% of them live in informal structures that look like that. They are made of either mud, wooden poles, iron sheets, or other materials that are cheaper than the conventional stone houses. Why do they live there? Is because they have low income. They earn less than $6 a day. Therefore, they can only afford to rent, not to own, therefore not mortgage, less than $45 a month. That is how much they can actually afford, or less. $45 a month, that is pushing it. And to get something that is decent with that amount is really, really difficult. That is why Kwangu Kwako Limited was actually started. Now, those structures, if you actually look at them very closely, they are insecure. There is either too hot or too cold when it is hot, because technically you are living in a tin shack. So you either decide you're living in a fridge or you're living in an oven, choose one. But mostly you have both. More than 10,000 every year, every time, more than 10,000 times every year, their houses, their house fires that burn the environment, whether it is because of the wiring that is done wrong, whether it is because they're using wood stoves to cook, for whatever reason, there are more than 10,000 times that fires occur. When they occur, there's air pollution, which affects our health. To say the least is that most of these structures do not have access, or they have poor access in terms of sanitation, electricity, as well as water. So our solution mitigates all these problems, because our solution is precast concrete houses, which are secure. They are low maintenance, therefore it is easy to clean. Therefore it reduces diseases, improve quality of life. Because it's also made of concrete, that is what we were thinking when we were actually designing it. It is also supposed to act as a fire break. Yes, we've done a fire test, but we have not, and we are praying that it doesn't happen, but if it happens, our building will stop it. That is something that we designed with that particular option in mind. Our structures also offer access to sanitation. That means toilet, access to a toilet, access to a water point, and also electricity. We also have mitigation of climate change. Our houses being made of precast concrete, all our materials are bought locally. This is to maintain low costs so that the houses are not expensive. We do not import anything. We manufacture in Kenya. That means we employ everybody that is Kenyan, so long as you're in the country. Also the local people in the community, the skilled and unskilled labor. This keeps our costs down and also has a buy-in in the community. It is very fast to build. A small, let's say 100-foot squared sort of a room, which is mostly a house for a family. It takes about 2 days for an up structure itself to build. So it is very fast to install. It is modular, because the areas that we are going to go, it's not easily accessible. Therefore, the modular concept helps in transportation of the panels. It is also modular, makes it very fast to build, makes it easy to actually train somebody to do it in the local community. It also affords the possibility of fitting in different shapes of the pieces of land that are available. It is also possible to do bi-spoke design. We can also transport these panels so that we can have a flat pack, sort of like an IKEA. You carry a whole house in the truck and then you go to assemble wherever it is that you're going. In terms of traction, it is in 2 ways. You can see that from 2019, it was 20 units, then it goes to 2020, 34 units, then 28 units. But if you look at the revenue has increased. That means in terms of units can be smaller, like 100 square feet, and then it can be as big as a classroom. That is still 1 unit. That is why you have variation in units, but you have increase in terms of revenue. So far, 2021 for us has actually been a positive, because during COVID times, the resource that we actually look for is land. And most poor population, all the population we're serving in terms of beneficiaries, do not have that particular resource. But the middle class Kenyans do have that resource, and they were not using it. Now, during the time when everything was quiet, they realized that they have a resource that somebody else can actually profit from, or they can actually benefit from. So this land that was just there, it was doing nothing, it was not earning any income, and it was benefiting nobody. So they decided that they actually need another stream of income. For them, it is a stream of income. For other people, our beneficiaries, they're actually getting a house that is cheaper, because Kwangu Kwako doesn't buy land, but it provides housing in the land that is actually there. So the landlords provide the land, and then Kwangu Kwako build, and then our beneficiaries actually access land, because these middle class Kenyans, not all of them can afford to build apartments that are more like millions and millions to build, but they can afford to build a unit that we technically sell at about $1,500 US a unit. So with about 1 million Kenya shillings or more than that, you can actually build something that more people are going to actually profit. That is how we were able to get more money during the COVID period. In terms of our financials, for this year, we are targeting to build at least 200 units. This will give us direct only to benefit about 1,000 people. Our gross margin is 40%. We are breaking even in 2023. For the current period, we are looking forward to raising equity in 2022. But for that to be possible, we are actually gearing it up. So this year we were lucky enough to actually get funding that we have enough for working capital. But for us to actually reach the sales or to boost the sales, we will be launching our $150,000 mortgage testing program. This is about 10 loans that will build around 62 units. And this one will give about 300 people homes and offer jobs for about 250 people. So 150 is just a testing model that will give landlords a loan for them to be able to build a house so that it can profit people. That one will also increase our sales. And then we're also looking for $50,000 US. This is for product development. We realize that people have land, but they want to use the land properly. So a high-rise building will actually benefit. It doesn't have to go five floors. It can be 2 floors, but that one will use the land better. So we are looking for a solution that is going to be cheaper than the common stone one. So that is a pilot project that we are currently running and looking for funding so that we can actually do a test and find out what other methods we can use besides the stone that is going to be cheaper, but still decent. So that one is what we are raising for. We are raising for product development, about $50,000 US. Also, that one will also be used for ventilation, because we're also looking at how best to, it's a small room. How else can we make the room have airflow as well as still maintain that majority of that room is going to be usable, is not going to be next to a window. So it is how else can we make this room have ventilation even when people are closing all the doors and all the windows because it is insecure. So these are the things that we're looking for. The $200,000 US will actually unlock another $150,000 US that we have already secured in terms of convertible debt. So that amount will create about 3x in terms of impact in community impact, in terms of beneficiaries, in terms of jobs, in terms of also improving our company profile because more units on the ground means that we are going to have more customers. It means we are going to have more sales, as well as a new technology needs people to start. So far, we have built about 100. If you put it in terms of unit, 100, but 100 is still not enough. We need more. So that will take us to 2022 for the equity raise, which is going to help us expand in Kenya, also do flat packs in terms of cell building solution, as well as have partnerships across the country or across the continent in terms of licensing partners. By 2025, we will have built more than 4,000 homes, 132 classrooms, because one of the problems that we visit in school, while most people are concerned about books, one of the people or the kids' concern was that they cut their fingers because the children are small, they're in preschool, and they will fall, they will fight, and they will cut their fingers on nails or iron sheets. So, and it's rusty, so you're imagining tetanus. It's a whole lot of things when you actually go to the ground and talk about it. In terms of jobs, we'll have created more than 21,000 jobs. In terms of direct beneficiaries, you will have created more than 25,000 beneficiaries who will be living in a dignified and good environment. Our team is diverse in terms of race, in terms of tribe, in terms of men and women. And we need this diversity because even in experiences, it is a new technology. Therefore, in terms of designing, we like an open forum. So it's an open-ended, or it's an open forum for people to share what is common sense, what is out there, and what we can invent. That is why we actually need a mixed group of people that comes from different walks of life. Thank you for your support, and we hope that you will support us as we continue.
Thank you so much, Winnie, and Simon as well on the call. There is a couple of questions. So, how long is the average sales cycle to convince a landlord to actually switch to, your type of solution?
I think it depends on who owns the land, because most of land ownership is different. Here, even women can own the land. But normally we find that the dynamics is, shall we say, the woman is the one that wants to earn money. So she will be the one seeing the opportunity, then she'll go to talk to the man, and then they will go. So it usually differs from about three months to 6, depending on who has the power to swing, but they have to talk to each other.
Okay, so could you maybe talk about the incentive that you actually give landlords for them to switch to your solution? Is there any
incentive that we give to landlords?
Yes.
Simon, do you want to pick that one if you're on call?
Yeah, I'll just pick up on the other one as well. So the cycle from first meeting a client to actually closing a sale is anything from between 3 and 6 months. So we have an ongoing pipeline, which has helped us deliver the revenue we've had earlier this year, so far this year. We've got 3 clients who are looking at 2 phases, and the total contract for them over probably the next 2 years will be about 300,000. That's already, we've got 2 of those jobs with phase 1 on site already. So those are already in the bag, and we're now working on the next ones coming through. So working through that 3 to 6 month cycle. So repeat the other question.
What's the incentive you give to landlords?
Oh yeah. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so one of the big things we looked at first, obviously Winnie mentioned the fire. We were marketing on fire at first, and we weren't making much traction. And we did a great survey with Acumen, now 60 decibels, which then told us that basically the 3 pain points for landlords was rent collection, empty houses, and maintenance. And the great thing was that our houses fixed that, because there's not many great houses, so people will stay in a good house. So the empty houses is less of a problem. And good houses fill very fast. And we did a survey of what people thought about maintenance. And every landlord we asked said our maintenance cost should be 50% less than the existing one. So there's 3 different things there. You've got better rent collection, less turnover of tenants, and you've also got lower maintenance costs. So we give them an incentive to build better houses. And a lot of the customers we're talking to come from the communities where they're building, and they want to, they're very keen to improve the housing and improve the area that they've come from or they still live in.
Great. Any other questions for Kwangu Kwako? Please feel free to drop them in the chat. But in the interim, Simon, I know you did a fire test, a couple of years ago. So if you could just kindly talk about that, that would be great.
Yeah, that was great fun. We had an Engineers Without Borders supported us, and we had an Engineers Without Borders fellow. And I went to him one day, and because we kept saying that our houses are better better with fire and everything else. And a very wise investor once asked, "How do you know?" And I said, "Of course it is concrete." And he said, "But you don't know." So I went to Chris, our fellow, and I said, "Chris, I need you to set fire to a house and see if it works." So Chris laughed and said, "Great," and everybody was jealous about the project we gave him. And we did this model. There's a blog on our website that talks you through it. And basically, we'd had some mini houses we built. We set fire to a concrete house, and the fire didn't spread to the metal shack house next door. The fire burnt out within 45 minutes. We did the reverse. We set fire to the metal shack, and the fire spread to the adjacent metal shack in less than a minute and a half. So that's the difference. And there's a number of, if you look on our LinkedIn and also on our blogs, there's a couple of articles, and there's a really good experiment in South Africa recently which shows especially how quickly the fires spread on these metal shack houses. It's frightening. It's literally a minute and a half, you've got a raging inferno. With ours, we contain, if there is a fire in one of our houses, it's contained within the house. If there's a fire in an adjacent plot, our houses, as Winnie mentioned, can act as a fire break to stop the fire spreading. Because I've seen these fires when I worked for a previous organization in the slums, and they are scary how quickly they go. Once you get a critical mass within 2 or 3 minutes, it just goes, and it's frightening. So that's one of the big pluses that we can add. We act as a fire break for that. So.
Great. So if either you or Winnie could just drop the links in the chat for everyone, that would really be great. But the next question is, around the cost of one unit, one unit, how much it actually costs you? And if you were to test, a mortgage on such units, how would that work?
Yeah, the units vary between $1,500 and $4,000 and $4,000 depending on the size. And the mortgages we've looked at, we can do it. The mortgage repayments the sweet spot is around about 5 or 6 years, and that's to have a good ratio between the rental income versus the loan repayments, and to allow us a certain allowance of voids and other things. So.
Okay. And how much how much margins would you make?
It's 40% gross margin.
Okay, perfect.
And we've delivered that on our developments already, so we've proven we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Great. Any other questions for Kwangu Kwako?
I've seen somebody who has asked if we have built outside Nairobi. Yeah. Yes, we've built outside Nairobi. We have built in Kisumu. That is a SOMO project, which was a training venue. We have built a resident house that is inside Kiri, that is far, like outside Ngong area. Then we have others that are in Athi River, Blackwater area as well. Those are also rentals. In Kawangware, we have some. In Kibera, we have some. So yeah, we do build outside Nairobi as well.
All right. Perfect. So please feel free to interact with both Simon and Winnie on the Brella platform. If you'd want to be connected with them directly, kindly please feel free to write to us, and we'll be able to sort of facilitate that connection. For now, I think I would like to invite, if Anne is back with us. Anne, I don't know whether you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Yes, sorry, we lost you for a minute there, but I think...
I'm really, really sorry.
No worries. We do understand. So I think you were speaking on, so Winnie, if you could just kindly stop sharing screen. Perfect. So Anne, I think you were speaking about, the recurrent revenues, and that's where we sort of lost you. And then last question for you was around, your unique selling proposition, or, how unique your platform is from other wallets that exist in the market.
Okay, let me start by how unique our platform is. One of the key things we give is a customer education, which lacks with every other health wallet around. So we try as much as possible to connect the mother with the expert, that is a pediatrician, a gynecologist, and a nurse, to be able to help with their entire maternal journey. And this gives us the additional push to be able to give the mother the additional push during her maternal journey. The second feature is the crowdfunding, which you can get help from your friends, your family, so that you can be able to make your maternal journey easier. Yeah, so your sisters can contribute, your spouse, your friends, all those people are with you on the journey. So crowdfunding is one of the other major things that we have with us. Those are the two key differentiating factors we have. The other question is?
I think you've really covered it. What's unique about your platform, and then the recurrent revenue you'd answered before. Yeah?
Yes. Pretty much it's the prenatal and the postnatal care which are recurrent.
All right. Thank you so much, Anne. Yeah, so if you want to connect with these entrepreneurs, please feel free to reach out to them directly through Brella, and also the entrepreneurs can also drop in their, their contact details on chat as well. And then lastly, I guess I'll take this one from Emmanuel. Who are your primary competitors in the healthcare wallet market?
Our current major competitor is Mtiba. I'm sure maybe those who are in Kenya have heard about Mtiba. And how we've made ourselves different from Mtiba is the group and also, like I said, the health education. But they have a really wide network of hospitals. So that's our primary competitor. What is the appetite for the traditional insurance for this customer? Our primary customer is someone who is already expectant. That automatically locks them from getting access to a health insurance. A health insurance has a maternal waiting period of between 10 to 12 months, depending on your insurance of choice. So the mother who we currently target is a mother who's already expectant. They discover the expectant and they don't have money to pay. So automatically they're disqualified from a health insurance. So pretty much we don't have competition from existing insurance companies. I don't know if I've answered your question, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel?
Oh, sorry, I was typing. That's great. Thank you so much. It's a really terrific idea, and I would love to learn more and connect with you offline.
All right. Okay. Perfect. So at this juncture, we'll go to our next entrepreneur, which is really Mantontine from Senegal. I think he has had a health challenge in the recent past, but he's available for the Q&A session live. So for now, we'll just play his pre-recorded version of a pitch. So if you could just kindly bear with us for 30 seconds while we set that up.
Hello everyone, my name is Bernie Akroy. I'm the CEO of Mantontine. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share our story. Mantontine is a complete digital financial services platform. We provide access to small loans and a range of financial and non-financial services for the financially excluded, mostly women in Africa. So what's the big problem we're trying to solve? It's the fact there are 300 million women in Africa who do not have access to basic financial services like small loans, despite demonstrating outstanding financial behavior by saving and lending $3 billion annually in traditional savings groups. Yet, the financial services providers, the FSPs like banks and MFIs, cannot seem to easily serve these women, and the women cannot seem to easily access products from the FSPs. In fact, despite all the funding received by FSPs in our region of Francophone Africa, only a single FSP has been able to develop financial services for women in the excluded zone. Our solution, financial inclusion as a service. We bring these two parties together on our platform. For the women, the beneficiaries, we digitize the savings group and credit score her so she can get access and be eligible for financial services. For the FSPs, the banks, and the MFIs, we enable them deliver the services directly to the women through our platform using plug-and-play tools, thereby greatly reducing their cost to serve and the time to go to market. We offer a comprehensive digital financial services platform for the stakeholders within the financial inclusion industry, NGOs, MFIs, banks, and so on, who want to offer the services to the financially excluded, but don't have either the know-how or the technology tool stack to accomplish this. Let me walk you through a typical customer journey. field agents enroll the savings groups, and create digital identities for the women. She starts to build a credit history within a savings group. Then we support her with capacity development like financial education. We take all the information we know about this woman and we create a credit score for her. Then we present a credit profile to a partner financial institution so they can make a rapid lending decision. And then finally, we deliver the products from the financial institution partner directly to her digital wallet. Our experienced team in Senegal, including one of Senegal's leading developers in Amano Khan, is responsible for developing and implementing our existing solution. Furthermore, we have deep competencies ranging from designing digital financial services using human-centered design to using artificial intelligence and machine learning to create credit scores to mobile and web application development. The size of the market is enormous. 300 million women with mobile phones, no access to financial services. But importantly, most of them do savings groups. We estimate the size of the market conservatively at $2 billion. There's some tough competitors out there, but our differentiator is our financial inclusion as a service platform for the industry, coupled with deep financial inclusion expertise. Our business model is very straightforward. We generate revenues three ways: transaction fees from beneficiaries, commissions from partners offering the products like loans on our platform, and project fees from partners who want to use our platform to deliver their own financial inclusion projects. We have a fully deployed technology tool stack, a proven solution with 30,000 farmers recently enrolled. We offer 4 services on our platform: Mantontine savings, goal-based savings, loans, and insurance. Our goal is to be in 5 countries by 2025, with a member population of 250,000. We're estimating revenues of $4 million and EBITDA of $350,000 by 2025. To date, we have raised $900,000 in grants and convertible debt, and we're seeking a further $500,000 for the next 18 months as part of our Gambia expansion. We can go to market rapidly with existing renowned regional partners, and we've been recognized in the industry for our innovation with several awards. Finally, let me leave you with a vision of our future. Think of a woman farmer in a savings group. At the beginning of the planting cycle, she receives a loan offer to buy more seeds from multiple financial institution partners. Our artificial intelligence program helps her determine the right offer. We embed financial education into this offering so that using our voice bot, she can learn in her local language. After the seeds are planted, our recommendation engine suggests crop insurance because our big data climate analysis indicates a bad harvest due to drought. When she harvests and sells her produce, we offer her an interest-bearing savings account so she can save enough of her income to sustain herself financially during the post-harvest season. Our vision of the future is embedding digital financial services into the regular customer journey of the beneficiary without requesting significant behavioral change from her. I thank you very much, and I look forward to any questions you might have.
So that was Bunny's speech. Bunny, if you're with us.
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Hi. Is it possible to see your face?
I'm afraid not. I'm not in good shape.
All right, no worries. So thank you so much for even being flexible enough to take, to take the time and sort of, participate in this pitch. So maybe for the rest of us who are not familiar with tontines, so maybe that would be a good place to start. Give a clear definition of what tontines are, and then we could all get a clear picture.
Thank you very much, everybody, for the opportunity to share with you our story and what we do. I'm sorry I'm not in the best shape. I'm just recovering from COVID. So tontines are, the industry name for tontines are roscas. Everybody knows, I think most people know what roscas are. They're a type of traditional savings groups that have existed in Africa for over a century. Very simply, an example of that is 10 people come together at the beginning of the year. They all put $10 in a pot. At the end of the month of January, a draw is made and somebody wins the pot of $100. And then the next month in February, they all come together again and put the same $100 in a pot. And another person wins it. But you can only win it one time, and it cycles through until everybody has taken the pot of $100. So that's what we call tontines. The advantage of these roscas is it's used in every single developing country, every single African country, of course. We call them Esusu in Nigeria, Susu in Ghana, Esusu in Gambia, Pari in Burkina Faso, Stockvels in South Africa. We call them tontines in Francophone Africa. So that was the big opportunity for us. We've chosen roscas or tontines instead of VISLAs, village savings-led associations, because we never need to teach anybody how to use a tontine. It's been around for over a century.
All right. So now that we all have sort of some background of what tontines are, in case you have any questions for Mantontine, that's Bunny, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But a question that had been asked to almost all the companies, Bunny, was around the cost. So maybe we begin from there. What your costs are versus, how much revenue and margins you're able to make.
So we generate revenues three ways. I think the first thing to explain about Mantontine is that there is no value proposition around tontine digitization. People have tried that before and failed miserably because the pain point is not around tontines. It's not around roscas. The pain point you're trying to solve for is how do you get these people who are demonstrating outstanding financial behavior access to finance and a range of services. And the tontine behavior for us is a way to capture data, to credit score these people, create credit profiles, so you can offer them ever increasing value products and services. So we generate revenues three ways. We're able to convince the beneficiary to pay transaction fees. These range about 20 cents per member per month. And that gives them access to financial services provided by our partners through our platform. The second way we generate revenues is that our partners, when they deliver the product through our platform to these beneficiaries, they pay us a commission. The commissions can range from 3% to 8 to 10%, depending on the product, a loan or an insurance. And then the final way we generate revenues, customers come to us, or partners come to us and say, we want to deliver our own financial inclusion projects. We don't have a platform. Can we use your platform to do that? And then we charge them a project fee for doing that. So those are three ways we generate revenues. And those project fees can range from $30,000 to $50,000, depending on the complexity of what you're building for them.
Right. And then, Bunny, what has been the most common feedback you've had from investors, as you tried to fundraise?
Actually, the most common feedback we get from customers is financial regulation. It's a very different world in Francophone Africa from East Africa or Anglophone Africa in general. So a lot of the questions we ask commonly is, how have you overcome financial regulation in Francophone Africa? Because it is a barrier to entry here. And the way we overcome that is we have this model that I described called business to consumer. So we actually deliver our services via our B2B customers, banks, MFIs, who are responsible for the financial regulatory aspect of what we do. And that's how we overcome financial regulation. And we have an approval from the government here to do that.
Okay. Another question that's coming in is, could you kindly talk about your scale strategy, especially in West Africa?
Our scaling strategy, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our scaling, we have this term that we use in our scale to define our scaling strategy. We say we want to nail it in Senegal, scale it in Francophone Africa, and then grow by acquisition through the rest of Africa. Now, what that means for us in practice is that we want to go completely national in Senegal. We're in 14 departments out of about 28. So we want to go be in all the departments throughout Senegal. And then our next country, we want to then go throughout these 8 countries in the UMOA region that have the same financial regulation, same central bank, same language, and same currency. It's much easier to scale across these 8 countries with these same characteristics. And thereafter, we want to branch out to other African, French and Anglophone countries.
Great. So if you have any other questions for Mantontine, please feel free to put them in the chat. But at this point, I see Eric Osiakwan has actually joined us. So I'll just throw him under the bus here. And Eric, feel free to unmute yourself. I know you've interacted with quite a few businesses in the West African region. So if you do have any feedback for Bunny or questions for Bunny, please feel free to unmute. And sorry, I'm throwing you under the bus here.
Right. I'm sorry, I joined in quite late. So it's been a pretty long day for me since our start the Angels meet and greets, and I'm just joining in now. So I actually missed most of what Benny presented, but I'll be happy to catch up and send some feedback later. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Eric, for that, feedback. There's one, okay. I see Rachel is just wishing you, quick recovery, Bunny. But again, as I mentioned, please feel free to interact with these companies through the Brella platform. If you do want any further information or to be connected, please feel free to write to us directly and we'll be able to facilitate that. I guess there's no other question.
Can I say one more thing if I don't have, can I expand on one more thing since I don't have any questions?
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about the real innovative thing we're trying to do, which is, if you look at Francophone Africa especially, and I think it's really important to be able to separate Francophone Africa from Anglophone Africa, because they're 2 different worlds. If you look at Francophone Africa, for example, there's a lot of money that has come into financial inclusion, specifically to the FSPs, to do financial inclusion, women empowerment. How do you deliver financial services to that woman who lives far away from a bank branch that you don't know very well? There are unique competencies required to do that. CGAP put out a report for 2019 that says FSPs have received over $7 billion to do financial inclusion and women empowerment in digital financial services. In our region of Francophone Africa, only a single FSP has been able to put out a digital financial services product. And because it's very difficult to do, because you have very unique competencies required to do that. So this is one of the big things that we're solving for with our financial inclusion as a service platform. A lot of these banks have received money, but they don't know how to actually deliver these products and these services. So we're getting a lot of, we've been contacted with quite a lot of these financial institution partners, and we've signed quite a few contracts with them. And because our value proposition to them, it will take you about 2 years to develop that competency to be able to go to market with a full technology tool stack, be able to deliver the appropriate level of product. But if you come with us, we've already built all of that technology, all of that expertise you need, whether it's eKYC, remote enrollment, digital credit scoring, fingerprint, electronic signatures, data analytics. So if you come onto our platform, within 2 months at the minimum, you can be up and running. Instead of the 2 years it will take you to go to market. Your cost to serve is reduced because we've digitized the entire process, and your time to go to market is greatly reduced as well by coming with us. So that's the real innovative thing that we're doing in this space. So we're getting inquiries from banks, MFIs, digital money providers, because what's happening is these type of organizations, including NGOs, are all getting stacks of monies. For everybody's trying to help do COVID response and how do I reach, but people don't know how to do that. And we're the only fintech company in Francophone Africa that has built out this platform that enables these organizations go to market very quickly. That's our real value proposition.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Bunny. Hopefully, some of the investors on the call would also sort of interact with you further. So thank you so much, even for taking the time this evening to just join us. And we wish you a quick recovery as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bunny. For now, I think we'll move on to our next entrepreneur. That's Julie. Julie, if you can hear us. Julie?
Yes, Mercy, I can hear you.
Perfect. So Julie, kindly go ahead and share your screen and then present to the investors. So Julie is, one of our entrepreneurs from Rwanda, who was also supported by Nguriza Nshore. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, she was one of, the award, the Sankapa Awards finalists this year. So Julie, kindly share your screen whenever you're ready. Yes, so she is the founder of Masaka Creamery, founder and CEO. Feel free to correct me there, Julie, if I'm wrong. But yeah.
Yes, I'm the CEO of Masaka Creamery.
Perfect. Go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, so it says here that host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yes, so we are just sorting that out in a minute. So Kavya, if you could help us with that. Yes, it should now be okay to share.
Good evening. I know we are on different time zones. Nice meeting everyone online. My name is Julie and I'm the CEO of Masaka Creamery. We are in Kigali, Rwanda. Our company was established in 2015 as a vehicle for launching high quality dairy products in Rwanda and in the neighboring markets. In terms of traction, I can say that our company has been profitable for the last 4 years and we are still profitable. Even in the presence of COVID, we are still doing well and we are grateful. Our gross margin exceeds 30% and we've been able to attain this growth with no bank debt. Okay. Yeah, we produce a number of products ranging from yogurts, different varieties of yogurts, fermented milk, cream, butter, and other dairy products like mascarpone cheese, sour cream, and others. Masaka observes a stringent food hygiene procedures, and actually our processes are built based on HACCP principles and ISO principles and standards. So I can strongly say that our products are safe and good for consumption. In a picture here, you can have, you can see some of our products that we produce. And again, here you can see various types of cultured products, dairy products. The problem that Masaka is trying to solve is like, especially in Rwanda and in the region, there is lack of diversity in the dairy value chain. And also we've observed that farmers lack access to consistent markets because most of the farmers live in undeveloped areas, rural areas. So sometimes it's hard for them to access consistent markets and big markets for their produce. There is also a problem of unemployment, like lack of employment opportunities, especially for people living with special needs. I'll discuss more about this as we go on. There is a high demand for dairy products, both in Rwanda and in the region at large. In Rwanda specifically, there is a strong national preference for dairy products, as dairy products are regarded as a good source of food for families. So packaged yogurt products are seen as an inspirational and yet affordable food to consume. So these products are bought by families, schools. So it's a good inspiration. So the solution and the impact that Masaka Creamery is trying to provide is that, as we all know, that dairy products or milk is a good source of nutrition to babies and to grown-ups. So as a company that is 100% dairy, we provide nutritious and healthy products to our consumers. The other solution and impact that we bring as a company is that we've been able to generate, to provide additional income to our farmers. We work with over 2,000 smallholder farmers in the northern part of Rwanda. And because they have a market with us, at least their families are sure that they have some additional income to support their families. Again, the other solution that we provide is that we've been able to create jobs, especially for the youth, and also for marginalized communities like the deaf community. The other part that sets us apart from other competitors in our country is that Masaka, we intentionally hire from the deaf community, and we have a vibrant and a growing and yet capable workforce. We are over 50% of our staff members are people living with hearing impairment. We've been able to extend employment opportunities to these youth, and this has helped them to support their families, and most of them have been able to complete school because they have an income. And I can say that this is one of the best decisions our company has ever made. And we're proud of it because we are changing lives, impacting lives, and changing lives in this way. In terms of financial performance, as I mentioned from the start, is that our company has been profitable for the last 4 years. Here I have a table, maybe to give an idea, like from 2018 to now, our company has been able to grow, as you can see from these figures. And we are estimating to earn at least not less than 35% in EBITDA. It's 35 because, we are living in, with COVID, we don't know what is going to happen next, like in the next year, but given our performance in 2020 and how we've been able to start 2021, we are hopeful and believing that we'll be able to meet our target and even maybe exceed our target in EBITDA. Our investment need at this point is we are looking at raising around 500,000 USD in grants or in investment, and we plan to use these funds in expanding our capacity. Like we plan to upgrade our equipment so that we can be able to grow our capacity. And we've been able to reach this growth as of now, I can say, with zero marketing, because we've not done any meaningful marketing since our company started in late 2015. But now we plan to invest some money in marketing and be able to even grow our company more, because we all know what marketing can do to a company. So we plan to locate some money in doing some meaningful marketing. We've already set plans, like how we have our marketing strategic plans set, but we just need to get investment and be able to invest in this area as well. We also plan on hiring more staff, more skilled staff to help us in the growth plan, and also to grow our team. And also we'll be able to invest in other various investment-related areas for our business. Our scale-up plan, we plan to expand our markets beyond the borders of Rwanda. Our target is to be able to access markets like in key areas that border Congo. Congo is a big market, and we are trying to see how we can penetrate to this market by setting up, say, outlets, physical outlets in key areas like Gisenyi, Lusizi, and other land borders to be able to access these, say, for example, Congo market easily. We also plan to access the Ugandan market, which is also, Rwanda shares border with Uganda. So we, as a company, we are planning to set up outlets at the borders of Rwanda and Uganda to be able for us to easily access this market as well. And in part of this, we also plan to access the Tanzanian market for dairy products. The members you see here in this picture, these are members on our management team. Most of them are women, but we also have men on our team. They mainly are the ones that go in the fields and in our production. These are all strong women, I can say. This one you see is our production manager. She's deaf. The lady you see here, Esther, is our technical and operations manager, and Gloria is our marketing and sales manager. But our team, we have about 55 members on our team, and our plan is to keep growing. And as we grow together, and our team grows as well.
Great.
Our business model is simple. We basically source the milk, process it, and distribute it. We do direct distribution to businesses that help us distribute again to our consumers. Thank you so much for listening, and I welcome your questions.
Thank you so much, Julie. In case you have any questions for Julie, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But I guess, Julie, a perfect starting point would be, where you've left off. Please take us through your sourcing process. Where do you source from? How much is it sustainable for your processing plant? And then, of course, lastly, what's the capacity of your processing plant as well?
Okay. Yeah, we source milk directly from farmers. These farmers are about 2 hours away from our factory. We are located in the special economic zone in Kigali. So we are working with over 2,000 farmers, but it's so hard to go to each farmer to get milk. So these farmers have organized themselves in a cooperative, So we work directly with the cooperative to get our milk. When our milk reaches the cooperative, they do the normal tests of the milk goes through different various parameters to be tested. And from there, milk is transported to our factory in Kigali, where we also run a number of tests to be sure that the milk we are getting meets the standards and the quality that we are looking for. We receive this milk and process it. Since we are a growing company, we are still on a small scale, but with room to grow. There is room for us to grow. Currently, we're processing between 5,000 to 6,000 liters of milk per day, and we work 6 days a week, Monday through Sunday, processing every day, and whatever we process, we distribute. We handle our distribution channels. We have trucks with refrigerated, with a cold chain, so that our products reach our customers with the right temperatures required for dairy products. So after processing, of course, we store and then we distribute to businesses around Kigali. Recently, also due to COVID in last year, we decided to also introduce our home delivery channel. Before, we are not doing that, but because of COVID, we had to adjust and adapt this form of delivery in order to make it easy for even our consumers to be able to get our products. So we are able to deliver to homes, and we tried small and we saw this growing, and it's still growing. So at this point, we are still able to deliver to customers, but our main focus is on delivering to businesses. So we deliver to supermarkets, big and small. So our products are appealing to different classes of people. So because we produce different sizes. So for example, someone with a low income status is able to buy, and also someone with a high income status is also able to buy a product. So we deliver to supermarkets, small shops, hotels, including 5-star hotels, all 5-star hotels in Rwanda. We deliver to them products like cream, butter, and yogurts. I don't know if I've answered your question very well, but you had asked me to take you through our sourcing and like what happens from the source and
yeah. I can also see Judith joined us, and I feel like Judith, you'd be better placed to ask this question directly. So kindly unmute yourself and actually, ask the question. And thank you so much for, taking the time off, Judith.
Sure. So Julie, congratulations on your business, and congratulations to all the entrepreneurs, really. As someone who started many businesses, I have the greatest respect for any entrepreneur anywhere in the world, particularly in our motherland, beloved motherland. So congrats. My question was I was in Rwanda about 1.5 years ago, and I was very curious about your ability to expand and also what your competition is like locally. So if you could just walk us through your local competition for your products, and then also how easy do you think it will be to expand to other markets that you've mentioned? I think you mentioned Uganda and others. Is it realistic for a product like yours that perishes under, I guess you'd have to have refrigerated trucks. I don't know what like the transport is like, but can you just walk us through what that's like? What you foresee, what you are afraid of as you think about expanding beyond Rwanda? Any considerations or concerns? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Judith, for the questions. I'll begin with about the question in regards to local competition and maybe the competition in the region as well. But locally, of course, competition is here. There are other players in the market for dairy products. But what sets Masaka Creamery apart is that we've decided to be focused on dairy. Other companies, both dairy and plus other products like water, juice, but us, we've decided to put our efforts in dairy, so we are 100% dairy. In putting focus in what we do is advantageous to us, because then we give it our maximum attention to, research, renovate, and do a number of things to make sure that we stay at the top when it comes to dairy. In Rwanda, in the Rwandan market, Masaka Creamery is known as a company for yummy and quality products, especially when it comes to yogurt. We are mainly known as a yogurt company, though we do a number of other products. So the competition is there, but competition is good, because it helps us to keep researching, and it helps us to be innovative. So we have plans to even introduce more various flavors of yogurt and other dairy products. So currently the competition that we have comprises of one of the giant companies in Rwanda called Inyange. Maybe since you've been in Rwanda, probably you've seen some products from Inyange. But even Inyange knows that when it comes to yogurt, Masaka Masaka is killing it. And it's our desire to keep on top. And even though other players are also coming to the market. So currently we have, when it comes to yogurt and cultured products, we have a bigger market share, because we are focused and decided to just remain focused on dairy products. We won't divert our attention into other products. So in doing this, we believe that this will take us far. And also when it comes to accessing other markets in the region, like Uganda, Congo, we've realized as a company, there is potential for us to grow. We just need to stretch a little bit more beyond. So currently we are able to certify the local market, and demand is there. The demand is there, so that's why we have to work every day, and we always, whatever a process goes out. Mm-hmm. So there is demand. And also currently we have some customers who cross the border, say from Congo, and they buy from us on a schedule. Like we let them know when we've been, say, in Gisenyi, and then they cross the border on their own, and they buy our products, export them on their own. So this alone has encouraged us to explore this market. So we've done some market research about it. We are looking into different areas of how we can be able to penetrate into this market. So it's a potential market which we need to explore. So in business, it's all about taking that step forward. So that's what we are doing. As a young company that is growing, we are always willing to take steps.
All right, Julie, I'll have to cut you short there because of time. Okay. I know there's a couple more questions. So I will give you approximately just 2 minutes strictly to answer both questions. So the first one is, how is climate change affecting your business? And how would you respond? And then the second one is, there's issues from, issues of inconsistent quality from farmers. So do you offer training to farmers? Strictly 2 minutes, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, yeah, okay. Climate change is a challenge, especially like during the wet season. We realize that there is a huge supply of milk, but the demand is low because it's wet season. Dairy products are consumed mainly during the dry season. So it's a challenge. And the way we are coping up with that is that we are flexible. to adjust and change whenever there is a need. The other question is in regards to farmers. Yes, we offer trainings to farmers. We have a very good working relationship with our cooperative of farmers, and we also do periodical visits to farmers. Mm-hmm. We offer trainings to them, and we also offer trainings to our staff members.
All right.
Ongoing trainings, yes.
All right. Thank you so much. I know Judith, Kabuki, and Dan, probably your questions were not answered to the fullest extent, but because of time, I think we'll have our next entrepreneur come on board, but please feel free to connect with Julie directly, either through Brella, or if you wish, you could contact us directly and we could sort of, introduce you to her. The next entrepreneur and the last entrepreneur of the day is actually Kovi, Andre, from all the way from South of Africa. So Andre, if you can hear us. Andre?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So if you could just kindly share your screen, and then whenever you're ready, please feel free to go ahead and start your pitch. We've known Andre as well for quite some time now. He was in his previous life an ex-rocket scientist. So I'll let him tell you more about that in a few. So Andre, whenever you're ready.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Let me move to the first slide. Good day, everyone. Great to talk to you. It's the last slot of the day, so I hope I can keep your attention. But I'm pretty sure, if we look at a number of $340 million per year, do you realize that this is the cost of electricity for the 23,500 public schools in South Africa, and that we're expecting, or the 15% increase has been improved from July 2021. The EcoV vision is to grow the green economy in Africa with energy and water security as a service from renewable resources. Allow me to introduce you to an incredible opportunity for impact. The problem that we're solving is the high cost of electricity and water supply interruptions in Africa due to the collapse of utilities. Eskom, Africa's biggest utility, based in South Africa, is a utility struggling to survive, with higher than inflation prices increases that affect affordability and directly impact schools, the heart of our communities. A recent study found that the average school in South Africa uses 450 kilowatt hours or units per day, costing around $60, with potable water mainly used for flushing toilets, costing about $40 a day. So that's $100 a day per school times 23,500. That's an incredible number. Green Tower microgrids integrate bore water treatment and disinfection with solar energy harvesting and storage. Performance is managed by software over the internet through a proprietary IoT platform. Green Tower for Schools is driven by advanced simulation models to incorporate specific sizing of solar PV and lithium batteries, along with energy efficiency measures and water conservation through treated bore water, replacing potable water for toilet flushing. We estimate a 1.2 billion market involving 12,500 urban high schools in Southern and East African English-speaking countries. Private schools and reputable public schools represent low-hanging fruit to penetrate the market. EcoV is projecting a $96 million market share in 5 years, with a target of 1,000 urban high schools. There is a significant opportunity for growth for EcoV as a first mover, both in South Africa as well as for expansion into Africa. Green Tower technology is based on 3 levels of integration: energy generation, water treatment, as well as IoT software. Next generation solar PV and lithium battery storage are integrated with bore water treatment that include ozone disinfection and deionization of minerals. The internet-connected sensors are used to perform performance management with online dashboards for improved end-user experience. Green Tower embodies successful international collaborations to provide energy and water security as a service to schools while improving health and well-being. This involves a circular model for the green economy that leverages solar skills development. Ecov is building a collaboration with First South Africa that provides robotic skills for 250 schools in our region. And I met the founder, Dean Coleman, in London and was inspired by how FIRST is reaching more than 1 million young people in 86 countries. Green Tower can also impact society in similar way with solar technology skills for improving energy and water resilience. The circular model is based on savings that unlock free value-added online learning, skills development, and entrepreneurship. By leveraging asset finance, we're able to generate significant utility savings per school over 10 years from Ecov energy and water security as a service. The service fee is covered out of savings with a portion passed onto the school after servicing the loan, catering for maintenance, and also a sustainable portion for Ecov. Revenue streams for Green Tower includes manufacturing and installation and income per school, as well as a monthly service fee at a 24% gross profit margin. Ecov has completed 25 Green Tower installations, including off-grid homes, guest houses, elderly care facilities, clinics, churches, farms, and a warehouse. A Green Tower prototype for schools and a Make Studio has been installed at 2 Pretoria schools with online learning for solar technology and entrepreneurship in collaboration with Tshwane University of Technology. Ecov has received a grant towards marketing Green Tower for schools with the aim of completing 30 school installations in 2021. By winning awards and recognition over the last 6 years, Ecov has established positive peer review and validated Green Tower technology. The competitive advantage of Green Tower microgrids, including integration of both energy and water security resources with a unique technical solution that is based on a validated circular model and value-added free solar technology skills and entrepreneurship development for sustainable job creation. Ecov turnover is projected to pass 10 million by 2023. Funds infused to date include $300,000 in grants and awards with $300,000 in sweat capital. The installed price of a Green Tower for school ranges between $11,000, which is some of the small installations that we build with currently, and $95,000 for a full-scale solution, including both energy and water treatment. The 2020 revenue target has already been exceeded by more than 5%, with profitability projected from 2021, with increased Green Tower installations. Additional revenue is projected from licensing Green Tower technology at around $1 million per regional franchise license as part of our expansion. We seek investor funding of around $1.2 million in debt and over 6 years and convertible notes. We need $450,000 to construct a Green Tower containerized factory in a box, $450,000 or $550,000 for a manufacture Green Tower microgrids at 10 schools and the village in South Africa, and $200,000 of operating expenses. What's really great is that Ecov can leverage 30% incentive rebate from the South African government from the construction cost of the factory. I'm Andre Nel, I'm the founder of Ecov, and our executive management team comprises a mix of experience and youthful energy with around close to 90 years of experience between us, and we can deliver on a shared vision. The team has a capacity to deploy proprietary scalable Green Tower solutions based on validated simulation models. Our total staff complement is around 10 at the moment, and we typically use a subcontracting for installations. We're proud of the impact of the 25 Green Tower installations to date in South Africa. We've supporting utilities with more than 134 kilowatts of off-grid solar generation with an annual carbon offset exceeding 300 tons while saving 300,000 kilowatt hours in energy, as well as conserving 4.9 million liters of water per year. If we take this impact and amplify that by 1,000 schools, we will unlock carbon offset of more than 70,000 tons in our region, while conserving 4.6 billion liters of water per year, And the social impact includes creating more than 2,000 new sustainable jobs per year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Andre. Really lovely having you here and present to us today. Maybe you could talk a bit about, how a rocket scientist actually came to start Green Towers. I think that would be a good place to start while you wait for questions to stream in.
Okay, I'm just trying to see where I can switch on my video. So it's, let me just see if I can get that done.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't quite know how to do it at the moment. I'm locked out of that screen. So let me just basically say that, oh yeah, I've got it. Button just came up. So I'm trying to start my video. There we go. Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, the South African space program closed down in 1993. But as you can imagine, a space program is a massive operation. So basically, the sky's not the limit. We understand in South Africa that we can do major projects. So when we look at a $1 billion plus market in terms of what schools as a single market can offer, that's including other market segments that we're also looking at and that we've validated. But the one that's really close to my heart is schools. We have incredible youth in Africa. I mean, the pyramid is so wide, it's the biggest in the whole of the world. So, we've got a huge job ahead of us to make sure that the youth understand the green technologies of the future. I mean, for me, what we're doing in terms of sustainable solar and water technology and skills that we can develop throughout Africa is just amazing. So, I've been inspired by first, Dean Coleman is an amazing person. I was fortunate to meet him. And that was about 2 years ago. And since then, we've actually focused our vision. Despite COVID, we've had an incredible productive year. We've done very well. It's been our best year to date. And so we'll have the biggest turnover. And so the turnover for this coming year, we've got a huge pipeline that's being built up. A lot of that has got to do with our collaboration with First, because they're basically validating our customers for us. And so, it's really important when you grow a business to focus on low-hanging fruits, because, overheads is a big problem. And we've managed to keep our overheads low. And this is going to be a fantastic year for growth. And that's the reason why we feel we're ready for our first round of investment. Our technology is really state of the art. And the awards that we've won all across the world, from Sweden, the US, obviously Kenya, we're very proud to be part of the Senko finalist for this year. And we see obviously Kenya and East Africa as a really fantastic market for us. We have an opportunity to work with 3,000 room hostel University of Kenya, Mount Kenya University. So yeah, now there are fantastic opportunities waiting for us this year.
Great. I'll let John take the next one. John, if you just want to unmute your mic and take this one, go ahead.
Sure, thanks, Mercy. Hi, Andre, thanks for the presentation. We were just wondering if there was any technical reason for providing both electricity and water in the same green tower, or is it more an educational thing for the children, for them to see, and just didn't quite get the link if there were technical.
Yeah, it's a really important link. As you know, with solar, when you do solar with energy storage, especially using lithium batteries, you struggle to get a payback below 7 years. When we have a site like a school, which has a large school with 1,000 learners, has a large energy footprint, but also 1,000 or 2,000 toilet flushes, and especially in South Africa, the schools are using potable water for toilet flushing. So the cost of water, as I explained, is just about as much as the cost of electricity, and it's getting more expensive. It's also getting scarce. It's a really, South Africa and lots of African countries are suffering with drought. So water is a very important resource. So for us to combine energy and water, we are able to bring the payback down to 3 years. With a 3-year payback, we are able to develop a funding model, and this is what we've been validating with Coventry University, where we can finance 1,000 schools through asset financing, which is a very simple model. And we're kind of working with financing institutions during this year to start asset financing the schools. Because, I mean, to asset finance a car for $50,000 happens, at a blink of an eye. As knowledge of solar and sustainable water technologies improves, it will become much easier to solve the funding dilemma. So basically, our target for this year is to team up with a professional funding organization so that we can make the projects viable through a service offering to schools, because most schools have a huge expense, but they don't have a capital or a large amount of capital. What we have found is a sweet spot. The $11,000 solution is within the budget range that is available to schools to pay cash. So it's important because we can offer them around about a 3-year payback. And at the moment, nobody else in the market can do that. And that's been our main aim to the development that we've been doing over the past 4 years, is how we are able to, with our simulation models, with our IT platform, to improve our energy harvesting and to improve storage, drive down the costs, and to improve the viability. And then it's happening. So we're really excited to share that with you.
Great. I'll also let Judith take this last one just because of time. So Judith, go ahead.
Thank you. A great idea. Since I heard your first presentation a few days ago, I spoke to a friend of mine in Sierra Leone, who coincidentally is building a school and has exactly these issues you were talking about, water and electricity, and trying to address them. My question, though, is, so I've gotten independent confirmation of how important this issue is from somebody in another country, small country, but he's trying to figure it out, and I'll put you all in touch. But my more direct question is, you mentioned carbon credits and how your technology is helpful. And I was just curious, I don't know anything about it, but I was curious, is there a market still for trading carbon credits in Africa or elsewhere? Is that a potential source of funding for you, the trading of the carbon credits that you?
It definitely is a possibility. In the US, it's really big. In Africa, it's still developing. But I think what's really important is, many African countries, South Africa, is part of the COP, and have made pledges of reducing the carbon footprint. And South Africa, for instance, is just about the biggest producer of carbon in Africa. And so, if we're focusing, we're starting with South Africa because it's a well-developed market. It's also the biggest consumer of energy. And we really have problems with water as well. So once we've opened up this market, what we believe is we will have a very mature technology. That is where the concept of franchising the technology into Africa to multiply the technology to get to as many of the markets out there, because part of the technology development and skills development that we're doing through an online platform, training up a large number of people, is that we, in a very short period of time, will be able to develop skills throughout Africa. And so, when we're looking at 5 years, 1,000 schools in South Africa, during that period, we will also start developing our footprint in the rest of Africa. And I'm convinced that by 10 years from now, we will be exceeding, 30,000, 50,000 schools alone, apart from the other market segments which we will be able to address. But to do that, we need access to funding. We need a strong partner that can get us into Africa with the same commitment to the green economy and the circular economy. Because, for instance, one of the huge breakthroughs that we've just made is that by repurposing solar modules, in South Africa, we've got the biggest contingent of solar farms in Africa. But many of those solar panels are reaching a stage where they need to be replaced. they're still functional, but they're producing maybe 80% of what they produced before. And in the same footprint with the new technology, they can have a solar panel with double the capacity. So they need to only replace half of them to get to their contracted service level agreement. So there's this huge pool of repurposed solar panels that we can use, and so we have already negotiated with the largest manufacturer in South Africa, and we see that in the next couple of years there will be thousands upon thousands of repurposed solar panels that just improve the viability of the project. We've just proven that now with the latest school that we're working with, so we're very excited about that.
Great. So I think because of time, and I realize we are about 15 minutes over the budgeted time, would like to end there. I'd just like to reiterate, if you want to speak to any of these companies, please feel free to get in touch with us directly or connect with them through the Brella platform. On that note, I would like to end it here. Have a lovely rest of the day for the people who are just beginning their day, and have a lovely evening for those who are going to bed or having their dinner now. But please do join us for tomorrow's slumber party as well. So tomorrow we'll be focusing on the early to growth stage companies, and we hope that you do join us. For those who are not able to access any Sankalp sessions as well, these have been pre-recorded and have also been uploaded on YouTube through the Sankalp page. For now, it's a good night from us and the rest of Sankalp team. Thank you so much for joining.